Why was the devil in jail? He was caught with possession. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I am a geek, you're watching Kevin the Geek, and it is time for another New Who Doctor Who review. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and help me get to 100 subscribers. Today we are looking at another two-part story. It's the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Now, most of the time when it comes to my reviews, I start talking about things like the story, the Doctor, the villains. No, today I'm going to start by talking about the music. Because the music in this episode is some of my most favourite pieces of music in all of Doctor Who that I have seen. It is mournful, it's creepy, it's suspenseful. It does everything to set the tone for this episode, along with everything else. And equally, in relation to that, the set is also phenomenal. Because every time we have seen any kind of visualization of space travel so far, it always seems so happy, so easy, so simple. But here, in this episode, it's actually what space travel would really be like. It's hard, it's tough, it's claustrophobic. You know, you get bad food, bad light, bad conditions. It is so good, and the whole music and sets really come together to really make this a really brilliant piece of television and storytelling for this episode. Now, when you think about the fundamentals of the story of this episode, I'm not going to lie. Having it be around the devil could be classed as quite cheesy, but they do a really good job of making it not be that. Yes, okay, admittedly, when you see the actual devil and it's the stereotypical horned beast kind of thing, it is kind of cheesy, I'm not going to lie. But, first of all, they make it a really good job of making it that the idea of the devil is not based around the Christianity aspect, which for most people is what they would probably think about. The idea is that the devil and the bringer of darkness and evil incarnate is deeply rooted in various different religions and ideas in theologies that encompasses many different religions and ideas of the world that we live in, but also other worlds, you know, because they talk about it being, you know, a representation of the Khaled god of war, which is kind of a reference to the Daleks. They mention about the demons and other things, which really is only going to make sense to a more classic watcher, because they refer to some of the aliens from classic Who. So everything they do is brilliant. But then you have the actual manifestation of the devil. And I'm not talking about the visual horned beast thing. I'm talking about the idea of the devil. And that comes from the mind of the beast, which is featured in this episode as having possessed Toby. And the scene where Toby first gets possessed is so powerfully creepy.
Toby. Don't turn around.
Dan.
That's not done. Don't look at me.
Who are you?
I have so many names.
If I could...
If you look at me, you will die.
But who are you?
I'm behind you, Toby. I'm right behind you. Don't look at me. One look and you will die. I'm reaching out, Toby. I'm so close. Don't turn around. Oh, I can touch you.
I've watched this episode many times, and I still get creeped out by that. The whole, don't look round. If you look round, I'll kill you. All that stuff, it's slowly building up a tension. It's what, for me, would make a really good horror movie. Because I'm not a horror movie fan. Mostly because it's all about threat and gore and blood and everything like that. For me, a really good horror movie is thrilling and suspenseful and keeps you on the edge of your seat, where you could feel goose pimples, where you could feel the hair stand on the back of your neck. That is creepy and horror. And that's the avenue they go into. Now, add into the fact that you've got this really horrible, claustrophobic kind of environment. You've got this amazing music playing over the top of it. It's brilliant. Really good. And the tone is set throughout the episode. And when you add into the fact that you have all this with the idea of the devil, but it's in a place that you should never ever able to be, on a planet that is orbiting a black hole. Something that I am no scientist by any stretch of the imagination. Yet I know from my very basic level knowledge of science that nothing can escape a black hole. Nothing would be in orbit. If you're within range, you are getting sucked in. And so the look on the face of the Doctor and Rose when they realize where they are is the exact same reaction that pretty much anybody would have. That shock that you are somewhere where you cannot be. Tie that in with the image and the idea of the devil, someone who also should not possibly be there. You have got an incredible story. And the Doctor is phenomenal in this episode of being that logical counterbalance argument to everything that the Beast is doing. Because you have that scene in the second episode when the Beast is kind of taking over the base and is talking about all of the different crew members and the Doctor and Rose, and kind of knows about them in a way that they shouldn't. You know, when the devil, the beast, whatever you want to call it, says this.
The captain, so scared of command. The soldier, haunted by the eyes of his wife. The scientist, still running from Daddy. The little boy who lied. The virgin. And the lost girl, so far away from home. The valiant child who will die in battle so very soon.
You know, all of that stuff, again, is all tied into the fact that you should not know this. You should not have this knowledge. Yet the Doctor is able to come up with this amazing counter-argument, which, of course, The Beast doesn't want to allow the Doctor to be able to get out because it is having an impact on his plans to escape.
You want voices in the dark? Then listen to mine. That thing is playing on very basic fears. Darkness, childhood nightmares, all that stuff.
But that's how the devil works.
Or a good psychologist.
Yeah, how did it know about my father?
Okay, but what makes his version of the truth any better than mine? Because I'll tell you what I can see. Humans. Brilliant humans. Humans who travel all the way across space, flying in a tiny little rocket right into the orbit of a black hole. Just for the sake of discovery. That's amazing. Do you hear me? Amazing. All of you. The captain, his officer, his elder, his juniors, his friends. All with one advantage. The Beast is alone. We are not.
Now, Rose is having another really good episode. And you're starting to see, well, not maybe starting to see, you are continuing to see the development of Rose into basically becoming the Doctor. With every passing episode, you are seeing her be more and more like the Doctor. For example, you think back to the girl in the fireplace, when the Doctor tells her not to wander off, and she just does it anyway and ends up getting captured, and the Doctor has to rescue her. Then you have the whole thing with the Cybermen, when she bluntly says, "There is no stopping me, I am doing this." Then in the Idiot's Lantern, she goes and interrogates Mr. Magpie on her own, ends up again kind of getting her face melted off and the Doctor having to rescue her. Here is another example where she's trying to step up and be more like the Doctor. When the Doctor literally gets trapped 10 miles away from the base, here is kind of a little bit forced out of necessity, but they still have to take that step up and take charge of the situation. And she does a really good job in this situation. Now, the actual wider supporting crew, I really don't think there was actually a weak link. Apart from maybe the two security guards who were basically red shirts who were there literally to get zapped to death by the Ood. That was literally their only purpose. Other than that, the core team were brilliant. Firstly, Suki, who was the first one to get killed, and that was an incredible scene. And again, I come back to the music. That moment when the shutters open, you see Toby stood out there on the planet, no spacesuit. Again, everything in your brain is saying he cannot be there, and yet somehow he is. And the music just gives you that lift on that sense of emotion. It's amazing. And then the special effects when she actually dies. If you watched a episode of Doctor Who Confidential, what I love is that they filmed her underwater. They actually did some filming underwater to be able to get their hair billowing and to kind of get that sort of feeling of weightlessness as you see Suki's body just kind of floating away in space. That I thought was really clever, what they did there. Then, of course, you have Mr. Jefferson, who, that final scene, he was just so heroic, with his final stand. And the dialogue was amazing, how they wrote it when he's saying about his impending death.
Might I ask if you can't add oxygen to this section? Can you speed up the process of its removal?
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, if I might choose the manner of my departure, sir, lack of air seems more natural than, well, let's say death by Ood. I'd appreciate it, sir.
Godspeed, Mr. Jefferson.
Thank you, sir.
the captain and Danny and Ida Scott, they were really good in what they needed to do. Danny, there was little bits I wasn't so keen on, but as an overall group, they were so strong together. And then you have Toby. And the guy had to play two different things. Of course, he had to play meek and weak Toby, and then he also had to play this incarnation, this embodiment of the beast, the devil. When you see the symbols from the pottery and stuff are on his hands and then on his face, that is an incredible look, and that combined with the red eyes, just so evil, and the looks on his face that he was given, unbelievable work there. Really have to give it up for the supporting cast there. That was great. I love the Ood. It's a different idea, and I like that they didn't focus too much on the whole slave race aspect of that, and they kept that for a later episode, because that would have been too much to put into all of this, and I think they were going to. As you can see, I've got my book, Doctor Who, The Writer's Tale. I've got that here. And it's given a couple of really interesting tidbits from this. One being that they kind of left it because it would have bloated the story otherwise. Then I also read about there being some sort of rewrite, because apparently at the end of the first of the two parts, apparently Rose was going to be getting possessed. And I don't think that really would have worked, especially when they're saying that at the start of the next episode it would have started where it's a bit of like a dream sequence. I mean, admittedly, I think they did kind of do that eventually with the Library two-parter and Donna Noble. That kind of had a similar kind of vibe to it, but I'm glad they didn't do that here, because I don't think it would have worked, personally. So, like I said, a lot of really, really positive stuff in this episode. Let's work out what my scores are for this episode. And there you have it. So, The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit scores a whopping 87 marks out of 100, which means it's an A+ episode. And this will always be one of my favourites, coupled with the fact that I do think it is one of the best episodes of New Who. There are flaws with it, I'm not going to say that there are not, but the stuff that is good is great. Really brilliant. But those are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Lots of content coming up, so make sure you hit that notification bell and you'll see when I go live. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Kevin. I am a geek, and you have been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.